two terminologies that you may often come across when doing different activities. The two terminologies are 2D and 3D. With these two terminologies, we may do different mathematical problems in geometry. And remember, geometry is about lines, angles, and distances. With these two terminologies, we may find distance problems by using the Pythagoras theorem. And this is the reason why we need to understand what is 2D and what is 3D. Let us talk specifically of the terminology 2D geometry. 2D geometry. Within it, there is two terminologies, 2D and geometry. 2D means two-dimensional. And geometry is the study of lines, angles, and distances. Now, in this terminology, 2D, there is a word dimensional. Dimensional means about size or lines. Size or lines. For example, look at this shape here. In this shape, if you want to locate a point, you just need two lines to locate a point. For example, this line here is located by using this line and this line. So you may call this line here width, and you may call this line length. So the length and the width are used to locate this point. That's why this shape is two-dimensional. Some other examples of two-dimensional shapes are, for example, this one. This shape here is two-dimensional. Any flat shape is in fact two-dimensional. But if I change its shape and it becomes this way, it is not two-dimensional. We will talk about why it is not two-dimensional later. So the way it is this way, it is two-dimensional. Now, in two-dimensional, we may need to apply the Pythagoras theorem to find distance problems. For example, in this shape here, you may need to find this distance here. So you need this length and width to find this. Suppose this is the length maybe is 5 units and this is 10 units. So if you want to find this diagonal length here, you just apply the Pythagoras concept. That is, the square of the hypotenuse side equals to the sum of the square of the two adjacent sides. So in this case, you'll have d square equals to 10 square plus 5 square, and you will end up getting d square equals to 100 plus 25, which is 125 d square, and then you square both sides, you end up getting d equals to 125 square root. This can be simplified if you remember like this. You end up getting 5 times 5 times 5, and this is 5 square root. So the length of this diagonal length here in this two-dimensional figure is d. The other terminology that we need to talk about is 3D geometry. Like in 2D geometry, we have two things to discuss here. 2D, what is 2D? I mean 3D. 3D means three-dimensional. Three-dimensional. And the terminology geometry means the same as we discussed earlier. So three-dimensional means that you need three lines to locate a point. Any shapes or any shapes or solids that needs more than two lines to locate, that needs three lines to locate a point are known as 3D shapes. For example, if you want to locate this point, you may need the width, the length, and the height to locate the same point. That is why this shape here is called 3D. It is a 3D shape. Now, we may need to apply also the Pythagoras theorem to find unknown distances. For example, in this shape, you may need to find this distance here. The diagonal length, we may call it D. Now, in order to find it, you need to locate a right triangle somewhere so that you can find this distance. The easiest way to do it is to draw another line here, and this shape here is a right triangle, which if you sketch it, it will be this way. This length here will be H, this is the diagonal length, and this is, maybe you may call it maybe L, and this angle here should be 90. The angle that is right here is the same, this one. So if you want to find this diagonal length there, you apply the Pythagoras, that is D square equals to H square plus L square. So in case you had some units, real units, maybe for this length here, which is L, and height there, then you could apply them to find the diagonal length there. So this is all about 2D geometry and 3D geometry. Sometimes 3D geometry is known as solid geometry. This is an example of a solid object that is 3D. Also, this is another example of a solid object that is 3D. This is also another example. Examples of 2D shapes are this one. This is 2D, but if you want to change it to 3D, it will be like this. So you can see now it is no more 2D, it is 3D. If you change its shape to become this way, it is now 3D. So 2D shapes have only two lines or two dimensions to locate points, but 3D shapes need three lines to locate points. To locate this point, you need this line, and this line. But in the 2D figures, shapes, you just need two lines. Thank you.